Hi, Michelle. So I've just had a quick look at this, and I think I see the issue as to why it's not working for the second time around. It's actually just bringing you straight through the survey again. So in the survey flow, I'm having a look, and we are authenticating based off of the test consolidated list panel, based off the email address. So as long as we are in that panel and we match an email address that's in that panel, we will be directed to the second end of survey message to be kicked out. The problem is when we go into advanced options and have a look at triggers and panel triggers, there's actually nothing set up to send to the consolidated list panel. So we're not actually triggering people who enter their email address here to be added to that panel in order to be authenticated into. So basically we're never in that panel. So no matter how many times we enter our email address, it's going to let us through because we haven't been added to that panel in order to meet the criteria to be kicked out. So if you were to set up a panel trigger in here, so for example, question, please re-enter your email address below, and then the value. So that's actually, oh, sorry, that's actually a condition. I wasn't even looking. So sorry, email is question, and then based off of question, please re-enter your email address. So now their email address is being added to the panel, and then we would want to set a condition here to only add these people to the panel once they've actually completed the survey. So for example, once the last question has been answered, as an example. And then obviously you can set up your second trigger if you want to add people to like a partially completed one. You can also do that too. But for your testing purposes, there's actually no one being added to the panel at the moment. So that's why we're constantly failing the logic and being allowed straight through the survey. So if you were to set that up, it would work correctly. So I'm just going to go over the other questions you sent in on Friday, or it probably was Friday at this stage. So the first one was about sending out the emails, the samples. So you were saying maybe you want to send weekly batches to the people who have completed the survey after like 2 months ago. There is no way to automatically send these up or trigger them. It would be a matter of literally coming into your panels and setting up a sample, and then just sending to that sample whenever you're ready. So you would go into the survey that you want to send out, you go to distribute survey, you would go into your panel, you'd create your sample, and then you'd come back out, go to email survey. And then when it says to, you'd choose the panel of interest, and then in here there would be samples, so there would be some results in here. You can obviously see people who are actually in. I'm just going to find one that there's actually people in. Okay, it doesn't look like there's any people in any of these, but if there was one, basically what you would see you would see all of the panel members listed in here, but also at the top there would be an option to add a new sample, and then there would be a list of your previously made samples. So as long as you know week 1, week 2, week 3 samples that you've set up, you would just distribute to week 1 sample, and then another week you'd come back in, make a new sample and send it to week 2 sample, and so on. But there's no way of actually scheduling these, and that's purely because we can't automatically create samples. So you would have to manually come in and make your samples and then send them. So we could easily schedule lots of emails, but the same people would be in each of those distributions because we've created our sample at the same time. So people aren't going to get automatically added to a sample after we've made it. So it would be a matter of manually coming in and making them each week. The second thing was then about, you were saying that every time you come back in using the same device, sorry. Will the cookies work if I resend the URL to the survey and another email to the individual, and they use this URL with the same device? Yes, it will, because this is the anonymous link that you'd be sending out in these emails, and the anonymous link is the same constantly. It won't change. So as long as people have clicked on this link at some stage in the past, it doesn't matter if it was in a different email, if it was on a website, whatever. As long as they click on this link and have taken it on that device, it will recognize the cookie and will bring them back to where they left off. So that's simple enough to set up. So you can send a second email to the individual. Then you were asking, is it possible to trigger an email for people who have not yet completed the survey? It is not. People who are kind of stuck in the middle will not receive an email. They will only receive it, say, for example, if they got halfway through and then the time specified in the survey options for partially completed, that was reached and their response expired. They could then be sent an email using email triggers. If you have a condition in here that says if they've answered, say, the first question, then schedule an email. So if their response expired after that and they'd met that criteria, you would then be able to send them a new email. But the problem is then their response has expired. So if you just send a normal anonymous link, it will just start them back from the very beginning again. Like I say, we could manually build out some retake survey links, which would be a bit of hassle, but we could do it. Or you could, like I say, just leave your your message in your survey that says you can come back within 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you'll have to just start again. That's probably the safest bet, because it's not a very big survey. I know you're probably going to be adding more to it, but I mean, most people would come back within 2 weeks to complete it, or but that's purely up to you. If you'd like me to talk through building out these kind of retake links, I can talk through that with you. I think that's all your questions for now. You were then saying in your most recent one, you were saying that you were being taken back to the beginning of the survey. I have a feeling that's because if you were using the preview link, that would not work. You would have to be taking it through the actual anonymous link in order for that to work. If you're taking this on an incognito window in your browser, or taking it on different browsers, it wouldn't work. There's a number of different reasons. So if you could just exactly clarify how you were testing this out, just be 100% sure, then I could easily figure out why it's bringing you back to the beginning. Because save and continue is turned on in the survey options, and that should be all you need in order for that to work. So I hope that goes through your questions. Please have a look at this video, get back to me with any other questions, and once you've set up your panel trigger correctly, and see if this works for you.